Hello, Dr. Bregman. It's nice to see you.
Same here, Linda. Hi.
Well, let me ask you a question. Are you watching too much news these days?
Probably. Much too much.
I think everyone is. I think we're all watching too much TV and too much news. And actually, I've had a few friends voice some concern that maybe the kids are being too exposed to news. And I found an email that kind of lines up with that thought, and it comes from a lady named Margaret. And she said, Dr. Bregman, we have the news channel on all the time. My husband likes to know what's going on in the world, especially because of the present COVID situation. I'm a little worried, though, about the children getting too much exposure to the glum and depressing stories that the news spits out 24/7. My kids are 9 and 11, and I feel they're way too young to take on the weight of the world. What do you think? And that's Margaret from Van Nuys, California. What do you think?
Well, Margaret has the same problem, and she's in the same boat as many families, unfortunately. I think the adults, want to be well informed, but these are adults, and they could sort out, the hysteria and keep things in perspective, and they generally understand the world a lot more. So the kids, they're very vulnerable, and they feel very overwhelmed, and they don't really understand, and they misinterpret things. So I think it's really important, first of all, for adults to be very careful about what they say in front of the kids. The kids listen to everything, and you're their world. And for them, they listen to things, they listen to how you're listening, and we need to validate them. And what does that mean? See where they're coming from. See what the news is, of how it's affecting them. And if they're distorting something, help correct them. And then also maybe be good role model to let them know how the family's taking care of this news, but not too much news.
I remember that during 9/11, my son was very little, but old enough to understand things. And we were watching news right after that tragedy constantly. And I noticed he went through a period of crying. And I took him to a therapist. He says, has he been watching the news? And I said, well, we have. Well, guess what? He was right behind us listening to it. So I know firsthand, too much news, too much tragedy, not a good fit with little kids.
Absolutely. It reminds me of my son, who was about, young fellow at that time. And he had this video game about flying planes, actually. And I found him hours on end taking his little plane and crashing them into the aircraft carriers and stuff like that. So I asked him, what does he do? And he didn't know what he was doing, but he was trying to master what happened when he watched the planes crash into the buildings. So the kids really can get a hold of this. And I think it's very important to listen to our kids and monitor how much TV.
Yeah, I think that's the operative word, monitor. We have to be, hall monitors and make sure they get positive reinforcement. So as you like to say, they become resilient.
Yes, and that's what we want. And we don't want to overburden them. And we should help reframe some of these tragedies going on so they could feel more in control.
Absolutely. Good advice as always. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah. Good to see you today. Take care, Linda. Bye-bye.
Don't suffer alone. At BregmanMD, we can help with our years of online therapy experience. Just give us a call or contact us online.